And why put that to risk?
Now, first of all, the breaking news, as you've heard, about potentially that fight between Joshua and Miller being cancelled. How you've reacting as a boxing fan yourself?
Well, I just heard it when I got to the gym this morning. I can't believe it. The biggest night of your life, biggest fight of your career, and you get tested positive for a banned substance. It baffles me.
When you see boxers at the top level concern themselves with these sort of issues, especially this close to a massive fight, I mean, does that not concern you as a professional in that field?
Well, my nutritionist, I think I'm not even, at world level. My nutritionist has a go at me for taking vitamin C tablets if they've not been tested. So the team he's got round him should say, listen, check all your substances.
Oh, no.
You're earning a few good quid here, and why put that to risk?
Now, first of all, the breaking news, as you've heard.
What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So we just heard there from Conor Juicin, aka Conor Tren. Yeah? My man going out all the way sad right now. Now, this video got leaked by Chris Eubank Jr. He's been airing out Conor Benn bigly right now. He said, I really just don't have any words at this point. Oh no, brutal. And then he reposted the message. Can't lie to you, there's a lot of hypocritical cats. I mean, in life, most people are hypocritical, but this is a wow moment. And really, this is an insight into potentially Conor Benn's guilt. Because he said, that at that level, the multi-million-dollar level which he is now at, he said his nutritionist at a lower level tests all of his stuff. Oops. Yeah? Now, I've been saying for a long time, I remember when Dillian White popped, I said, why is this big buff bulbous looking ass Nick making all these millions and his team's not on point? Especially after Dillian White had already been popped. Yeah? Dillian White was on his second time, kind of thing. Now, to be fair to Ben, he's on his first time. Me personally, people know that I like to give everyone one chance. Unless it's completely blatant, like you got, for example, Jarrell Miller, for me, that's blatant. Multiple substances, multiple tests, and truckloads of it. Yeah, that's an issue. But I ain't gonna lie, people can say what they want. For me, yeah, Conor Benn being caught on one test, trace amounts, and nothing before, nothing afterwards. One substance, small amounts of that substance. The substance wasn't even direct. Do you understand? For me, I'm prepared to give Conor Benn the benefit of the doubt. And I think the fight should have gone ahead this weekend. That said, the fact that... listen, we didn't ask him to be all in the video talking about, yeah, my team makes sure even my vitamin C tablets get tested. Wow. Wait there a minute, Mr. Conor Benn. Wait there a minute, Mr. Conor Juicin. Yeah, listen, Mr. Conor Juicin. If all your vitamin C and vitamin D tablets have been tested, that tells me that you're running a proper A1 camp. Salute to you. But with the same breath, that A1 camp you're running, testing substances like vitamin C, which tells me you test everything. Listen, if you're testing vitamin C, you're testing everything. If that's the case, my defence for Conor Benn's been, listen, end of the day, in this day and age, there's a lot of cross-contamination, and a lot of these factories, yeah, aren't single purpose. A lot of these factories will create products for 10 different companies. Yeah? And that's how cross-contamination takes place. So for me, bearing in mind how deep VADA go, i.e. VADA can find C19 in oranges. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them ones. So bearing in mind how hard they're looking, it's possible tiny amounts can be cross-contaminated into your body. But you've just said that you just said all your shit has been tested. And to be quite frank, I also have to say, Conor Benn really hasn't come out and given us too many facts. Like, I haven't really heard him say, I haven't taken anything. He said things like, oh, I've never been caught, I've never tested. Yeah, not testing dirty isn't the same as I haven't taken anything. For example, I would have liked to have heard Conor Benn say, oh, All my stuff's been tested. I test all my supplements, so I don't know how this has happened. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd like to hear that. We ain't heard that. So what's he now saying? Is he going to backtrack? Please, to God, don't let Conor Benn backtrack. If we hear Conor Benn start saying, yeah, it was a supplement, I don't test my supplements. Obviously, he will have seen this video now. So he ain't probably going to blatantly come out and say, it must have been in my supplements. He ain't going to come out and say that. But if he carries on avoiding it, like he's been doing, yeah, in my opinion, Conor Benn should have put a statement out saying, listen, I test all my supplements, so I haven't got a clue where this came from. We ain't heard that. Why not? Yeah? That's what we should be hearing right now. I haven't put nothing in my body. I'm one of the best athletes. I test all my shit. I don't know how this has come about. We ain't heard that. Which tells me, potentially, he does know where it's come from. Potentially, he's juiced out of his mind, bottom line. That's the end of the day, man. The chances are he's juiced out of his mind. Yeah? I haven't been hearing the right things from this guy, truth be known. Because Mr. Tests everything, all of a sudden, gone quiet. Make your mind up, which is it? Some Conor Benn fans may start shilling and say, he was just saying that to sound hard. No, I don't believe it myself. When you say that your team, whoever it was, pharmacist, tests the vitamin C, you just don't say that for nothing. Conor Benn and his team will have had conversations about testing the vitamin C. So listen, you need to provide all the documentation right now. Conor Benn should be saying, boom, look at all the supplements I've had tested. But then again, even if he had all the supplements tested, still, if he's popping stuff, you're popping stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them ones. If he's popping stuff, he wouldn't need to test. And that might even be an argument itself. If Conor Benn's popping stuff himself, why would you even bother testing your other supplements? Because you'd know, well, I'm juicy anyway. I'm juiced out of my barnet anyway. Yeah? I'm juiced out of my fake beard. 100%. Anyway, man, listen. Your man Eubank right now. He airing out Conor juicing. Punking him. There were some more tweets here. This one, I mean, this is, for me, is a bit shameless. Eubank's looking kind of good right now. Well, not looking good. Conor Benn's looking a bit shady. I'm not going to pull a Gareth A. Davis again. I'm not someone who's a weirdo. I think a lot of weirdos have crawled out of the crevices. Yeah? A lot of people grandstanding, like Gareth A. Davis. If this fight had happened, it'd be a travesty. The right thing happened. This fight can't happen. Me personally, based on what I know, the fight should have happened. Yeah? And the reason I say that is, listen, maybe there's some man out there, who are really standing by what they're saying. But a lot of these guys, Gareth A. Davis, all the grandstanders, all of you man would have been there watching if it had happened. And that's my beef. Yeah? Don't grandstand saying the right thing to do is pull it. And if the fight had have happened, you'd have been watching it. Because you're just talking shit then, innit? Now, fair play. For you man, who said it should be pulled and wouldn't have watched, you man, that makes sense. But most 99% of people, who have been trying to, this is bad for the sport and whatever else, you'd have been watching the fight. So shut up. Do you know what I'm saying? The fight should, end of the day, man, based on the evidence, the fight should have continued. There was no tiny amounts and there was no benefit. This was 6 weeks ago. Yeah? If you've got trace amounts 6 weeks ago, it ain't doing nothing for you now. Nothing. And in fact, it's been not doing nothing for you. And now we've lost a weekend of sport for what? Some bullshit. I'm sorry, the test bullshit in my opinion. From what I've seen, test bullshit. I don't believe it myself. I think it's bullshit. At the end of the day, that's bullshit. How about that? I think in this day and age, the way the tests are, they find shit everywhere, man, bottom line. That's what I think. I'm sick of hearing about trace amounts. I don't want to hear, from now on, I don't want to hear about trace amounts. In my opinion, the limit should be is it beneficial? Do you understand? Not, oh, I found a little bit of nothing in there. I ain't trying to hear that. I ain't trying to hear you found one molecule. Do you understand? Have they had a beneficial dose? A beneficial dose, that's the problem. That's where the limit should be. If it's anything less than that, I ain't trying to hear about it. I'm just not. That's me personally. I ain't trying to hear about it. If it ain't serving no benefit, why are we pulling the fight? Why are we pulling the fight? Why are we messing everything up for something that the guy ain't benefiting from? Now, the argument is, well, maybe he was benefiting from it at an earlier time. What? Wait a minute. The fight's in October and Conor Benn was benefiting in August. That don't make no sense to me. And in my opinion, there's a lot of myth that goes around. Oh, well, you can retain gains. No, you can't. Ask any juicer you know, yeah? If you're on a cycle and you come off 8 weeks, you're skinny as you like. And if anything, it's actually negative because psychologically, if you was buff, 8 weeks ago, and you haven't got your magic sauce, psychologically, it does nightmares to you. Yeah? So actually, I think it's actually almost worse. If you have been juicing and you have to come off, I don't see how it's beneficial. Because you're going to be flat. If you've been used to performing and training juiced up, and you have to come off for 8 weeks, you're going to be thinking, all them shots, that didn't hurt, all them times you was hitting people and hurting them, now all of a sudden, you're going to have pillar fists and you're going to have wafer chin. Yeah? All of a sudden, you're going to have Dillian White chin, wafer thin chin like Dillian White, and you're going to have no power having ass. That's what you're going to have. So that whole thing don't make no sense to me either. Oh, well, you can retain. No, you can't retain no gains. If you could retain gains, no one would take juice. Yeah? Because you just listen, if it was possible to retain gains, everyone would juice for a month and then be buff for the rest of their life. It don't work like that. The minute you come off the juice, it's obvious. Look at Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman was 500 pounds. Big buff gorilla looking ass. He come off the juice and now he looking like some old falling apart man. That's juices. So wait a minute. If anyone could retain gains, you'd think it'd be Ronnie Coleman, would it not? Oops. Where's all Ronnie Coleman's gains gone? Because he'd been retaining. He'd been training. Oh, no gains. Yeah? You can't retain shit. That's what you can't do. Especially not no trace amounts bullshit. I'm pissed off because now we've all been put out. Now, what's everyone gained here? All the grandstanders. Oh, it's bad for the sport. How's it bad for the sport? I don't get that. Someone explain to me how a man having trace amounts that serve no benefit. How is pulling this fight benefit? Who's it benefited? Apart from the virtue signalers. And the funny thing about Gareth Davis is he's got a lot to say about everyone else, but when his man Fury went through things, he ain't say nothing. Yeah, I didn't hear no grandstanding from Mr. Gareth A. Davis. I didn't hear it. When Tyson Fury was talking about boar meat, and to be quite frank, quite a lot of you cats, who were going hard at Conor Benn. Oh no, YB, now Fury had boar meat. Oh yeah, okay. And me, I'm consistent. If we're going to troll Conor Benn, let's troll Tyson Fury as well. But most of you, man, let that one slide. Oh, no, it wouldn't be tough. No, the boar meat, YB. Yeah. Okay, then. I don't care for none of these guys. What I do care for is getting the sport going. I'm sick of having fights pulled because of virtue signalers. Yeah, we had Marshall versus Shields. Virtue signalers. Oh, the old woman's dead. We must pull the fight. The fuck? Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck. Get the fight going. Is this a sport or is it a virtue signaling? Oh, let's show how virtuous we can be. Let's show the world how we can suck everyone off. And a lot of these media guys, like Gareth A. Davis, they love the drama. They'd rather fights not happen so they can talk. Guarantee you, Gareth A. Davis is going to be on Talk Sport 10 times a day for the next 2 weeks talking about this. It's better for him. It's better for him if the fight don't happen, because he can just waddle on. Oh, it's great for the sport. Yeah, the sport's upheld its morality. The sport's now mugged off a whole bunch of fans again. The sport's gained nothing from this. Nothing. Yeah? You've pulled a man out of a fight for having a few molecules of a substance that can't benefit him. That's what you've done. So congratulations. Yeah? I'm sick of these agencies. And to be quite frank, what's my what am I basing this on? I'm basing it on the 1990s. You man, yeah, are naive. I'm telling you now, if you applied the 2020 standards to the 1990s, there wouldn't be I'm telling you now, there wouldn't be no fights. Yeah, Mike Tyson would be banned for 10 years for cocaine. Holyfield would be banned for being juiced out of his barnet. Yeah? And God knows who else. There would be but I guarantee you, honestly, I'd genuinely bet big money that 99% of fights wouldn't have taken place from the early 2000s back to the 1950s. I literally would. I'd bet 99% of fights wouldn't take place. Because things was much more loose then. And guess what? For what it's worth, the fights was much better quality. Yeah? And I'm about the sport. I don't care about nothing else you've been on. I ain't trying to hear about all this other bullshit. Yeah, get in there and crack on. Especially when there's no benefit. I'm not saying, if you're juiced out of your mind, the fight can't happen. But if there's, you know what I'm saying, if there's little trace amounts, what are we making a big song and dance for, man? Crack on. Because I've seen Holyfield in there. And he was, listen, Mr. Holyfield, he weren't on no trace amounts. He was on the full fucking whack. And he was in there, and a lot of you man don't say nothing about that. Yeah? Most people to this day consider Holyfield the top guy. Oh, but he never popped. He never had no real test. Mike Tyson talked about it. Mike Tyson said he'd go in the changing room and get his fake willy out and just piss in the man wouldn't even come in the room. Completely different these days. And the point is, a lot of these fearmongers, yeah, a lot of these fearmongering cats, oh, well, everyone gonna die in the sport. What? Wait a minute. If anything, the sport was safer back then. We hear about more dodgy things happening in terms of people passing away than we did back then. And everyone was juiced. Yeah? Everyone back then was juiced. But now, if it probably makes sense to be fair, the juice is probably what was saving people. Yeah? If you're going in there natural, you ain't got no protection. When you're going in there like Superman, the shots bounce off. 100%. It's well known. Look at Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort was juiced out of his mind and mowing people down. 2-2s, he comes off the juice and he's jumping on the floor. Can't hold a shot. Can't hurt no one. So really, juices enhance the sport all round. It's more entertainment, more power, more kind of, yeah, you're more able to hold a shot. It's good for everyone. And I'm not saying that. The problem is the imbalance. You can't have one man juiced and one man unjuiced. I'm just saying that for me, the trace amounts thing, it just don't do it for me. I'm sorry. I ain't trying to hear about trace amounts. I'm just not. Especially when you look back in the 90s and most of the substances today are it's ridiculous, man. They've got things on the ban list that make no sense. Completely, it's not even the thing that is in pop for, yeah. It isn't even a steroid. This shit can't do nothing for you. Honestly, it really can't. To take this stuff in trace amounts as well. It's not even steroids in trace amounts. It's some next normal substance in trace amounts. It does nothing for you. I guarantee you, if me and you were to take this substance in full amounts, we'd notice no difference. Guarantee it right now. We'd notice no difference whatsoever. And yet here we are. We're cancelling fights over something that made no difference whatsoever. Eubank was happy to go ahead. The doctors, the legal advisors were happy because it don't make no difference. And a lot of you dopey cats, yeah, you hear the headlines, oh, he's juice and whatever else, and you just jump on it. You've got no idea what you're talking about. You've got to put things in perspective. If Conor Benn was caught on a full cycle, I'm the first one to say, get the guy out of it. But when he's not, the fight must go on, in my opinion. Don't ruin everyone's weekend to try and be a virtue signaller. Because if you do, I suggest you go back to the 90s and you rule out all the fights that happened. Because I guarantee you, all of them, man, had a lot more than a few trace amounts of some non-steroidal, whatever it is. Guarantee it. Those men were on full cycles, and all of us loved it back then. Those were the glory days, so in my opinion, bring them back. I ain't trying to hear about, oh, let's keep it clean. Let's keep it going. All I'm interested in is the fights happening. I ain't trying to hear about no grandstanding. I ain't trying to hear about no trying to be holier than thou. I'm trying to see a sport on. It's like NFL. Yeah? A lot of you fans, yeah, you want things that are impossible. You want the biggest, buffest dudes to bang into each other really hard. And then you work out, oh, well, the guy's juice. Well, how the fuck do you think you get that big and buff? Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, we want these big, buff, strong dudes to run into each other, but we don't want them to you know what I'm saying? It's massive. It's a massive contradiction. You want people to punch each other in the head, but you don't want them to boost themselves up a little piece. Me, personally, I'm happy to let it slide myself. It's not a big deal to me. In this context. Yeah? It's just not. If my man got to have a little piece of ting, you got to have a little piece of ting. And we're not, and the worst thing is, we ain't even sure that's the case. Because of the trace amounts. And because it's not a real substance. Who knows where this could have come from? Who knows? Yeah, for all we know, his girlfriend, for all we know, yes, no, all jokes aside, for all we know, Conor Benn, let's assume, yeah, his girlfriend might have been taking this substance. It's in her bloodstream, yeah. He could have been eating the cooch, yeah. He could have been eating the pooper. And that's how the trace amounts came through, 100%. If I was Conor Benn's team right now, I'd be saying, boom, my missus was taking the thing. I was eating her pooper, yeah. I was eating the cooch and tutus. We've got the trace amounts. Oops, yeah, that's what I'd be saying right now, 100%. My missus, she was bang on this fertility thing, yeah. And I was eating the cooch, and it's one of them ones. Peak for me right now. Simple as that, yeah. Super duper simple. That's how these things. That's genuinely how it could have worked, from what I know. Yeah, Conor Benn was eating his. Oh, listen, Conor Benn was doing God's work. Yeah, he eating that cooch. And now look at him. That's what people say, man. That's what they say from the Caribbean culture. No bowcatting. We bowcat pagan dons. Conor Benn and bowcat. That's what it is. Conor Benn's being punished by God for being a bowcat. Yeah, that's what happened, Conor. You shouldn't be eating the puss. You shouldn't be eating the cooch. Yeah. There you go. At the end of the day, man. Conor Benn, the bowcat. It is what it is. He a bowcat. Yeah. He stay on that cooch. He loved the cooch. Conor Benn stay making love to his Mrs. Cooch. And that's why he jammed up right now. Yeah. He going through it right now. If Conor Benn was a real man and kept his lips to himself and wasn't a fiend for the cooch, he'd be alright right now. 100%. Conor Benn was drinking too much juices, and unfortunately, it ended up in his system. And now, like I said, he caught up. Anyway, Eubank, he clowned Conor Benn some more. How about I get you to the UK tomorrow and we can scrap on Saturday for the fans now that are missing out because Conor Benn fumbled and crumbled under the pressure. Wow. Yeah. To be fair, I wouldn't even mind seeing that fight. Jake Paul versus Eubank. It's a clown show for Eubank, but that sums up Eubank's whole existence. He's a clown. But then again, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Not going to happen, but I still wouldn't mind seeing it. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, and your boy will be back 100%.